public health emergency caused by coronavirus, the mayor and borough council meetings will conduct all council meetings remotely and by electronic means without providing a physical meeting place. Additionally, while the council will continue to meet on their regularly scheduled meeting dates, please note the time for work sessions has been changed to a new commencement time of 6 p.m. The regular council meeting will continue to commence as soon as possible after the work session, in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6, the Open Public Meetings Act, and in adherence with the Department of Community Affairs Division of Local Government Services guidelines. The work session and the regular council meeting will be open to the public by electronic means, and as such, members of the public may view the meeting by live stream on YouTube at Kenilworth TV NJ. Agendas will be posted for the public's viewing on the borough's official website at www.kenilworthnj.com. Any member of the public wishing to participate in the meeting can do so by emailing comments relative to the agenda and or any other governmental issues that the member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the borough of Kenilworth, to the borough clerk at boroughclerk@kenilworthnj.org, no later than noon of the corresponding meeting date, and is, as always the case, must include the public member's full name and address to the topic to which the comments are being referred for the record. Mayor?
Thank you. I am making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, Laws of the State of New Jersey. The Borough Clerk has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2020. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of this schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of this schedule in her office during the year 2020. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Cesari? Councilwoman Cesari? She's present. Councilman Clementi?
Here.
Councilman Ladati? Councilman David?
Here.
Councilman Lopez?
Here.
And Councilman Schuelke.
Here.
Okay, has everyone read over the agenda? Does anyone have any questions?
Nope.
No questions.
Okay. Okay, I'll go right into the report. The governor has lifted the stay-at-home order. We're finally seeing the light as we move through the coronavirus pandemic. Restaurants will be able to have outdoor seating starting June 15th. Many of our restaurants take advantage of this opportunity to create outdoor dining areas. On June 22nd, everyone can finally get their hair and nails done. Limits on indoor and outdoor gatherings have also been raised. Currently, there are 164,796 cases of COVID-19 in New Jersey, 16,302 cases in Union County, and 148 cases in Kenilworth. Please take a moment to fill out the census. Kenilworth is currently counted in at 74%. June is Pride Month. Many of you may have noticed the Pride flag at Borough Hall. The flag stands for professionalism, respect, integrity, diversity, and excellence. I support tolerance and understanding and respect in our community. All members of Kenilworth are welcome, loved, and supported. Diversity makes us strong. I am proud to support our LGBTQ residents. St. Teresa's Food Bank is changing their hours to the second and fourth week of every month, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The pantry went from feeding approximately 30 to 40 people to 207 people last month. The pantry is not capable of sustaining these numbers. The schedule this change in schedule will help bring the return visits down and the stocking up of the pantry, and anyone wishing to donate food or money can do so at the rectory. I would also like to send gratitude to our police department. I'm very proud of all of you and we support you 100%. Thank you to Chief Zimmerman and the entire department for serving our community and for showing up every day doing what needs to be done to keep us safe. We appreciate all of you. Also, a reminder, the primary election is June 7th. Mail-in ballots should be reaching your mailbox soon. If you have not done so already, please fill them out and mail them. Your vote is your voice. Please make sure that you are heard. Thank you very much. Finance Department, Councilman Lopez.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you very much. The finance office will be opened to the public on June 22nd. The estimated tax bills will be mailed out at the end of the month for the fourth quarter. Tax bill and residents will be able to make their payments at the time in person if they choose to. In-person senior fee PTR forms will also be available for in-person processing at that time, after June 22nd. The Finance Committee met yesterday and we discussed the borough's current financial position. We're keeping a close eye on all our expenses and especially our revenues. As a result of the economic losses due to COVID-19, we agree to meet once a month, monthly, review our financial position and make any recommendation necessary. Any change, any we got some, very important decisions to make. Thank you very much, Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Councilman Lopez. Department of Public Works, Councilman David.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with this shit.
All right, we can hear you now, Kay.
Hi, Kay.
Oh, I am getting
virtual
some.
background we can't hear, but the other one we can hear.
Okay. Shit. All right. I'll turn this thing off. All right. I'll just do it on my phone. I couldn't get it on my computer. I don't know why.
Well, it was a nice background anyway. Can leave that there. Palm trees.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to figure out how to do a gallery view. I don't think the phone
In the
has a
right
gallery.
corner, you should be able to do it. Either on the right or left. Hover and it should light up gallery.
No.
I don't think it does gallery on the phone view.
No?
It just does whoever's speaking.
Okay. Let me see if I could get this on here. All right, go ahead. Keep going. I got my stuff.
Okay.
Am I
Can
next?
you hear me? Okay.
I could hear you, yeah, but I don't see anybody else. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Because I just worked this afternoon on a meeting.
Yeah, everybody else is on mute, Kay.
And I'm not. All right.
Mary, do you want to go to Public Works?
Yes, I thought I did, but I don't know if Mr. David heard me. Department of Public Works, Mr. David.
I kind of can't come back after whatever just happened.
What do you mean?
Nobody else heard everything that was going on. I thought that was on the open mic.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, well.
It,
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
it was Mark.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, how am I supposed to follow that?
So what you're saying is, Kay's a tough act to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, am I good to go now or what?
You're good to go.
All right. So, I guess the big.
I'm here.
Oh my
Here.
God. You know what? I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go have some drinks, and I'll come back maybe later.
Okay.
No, we want you to stay.
No, I don't know. I don't want to stay now.
It's more fun when you're here.
Why, because I'm here now?
Evidently, Kay's taking the hit. She's doing all the stuff.
I know, and I never screw up, but this time I did. And no laughing.
All right. I don't even know what's going on now. Am I supposed to be talking or what?
You're supposed to be talking and giving us your report.
Mhm.
All right. So I guess the big news of the day is that we got our bulk pickup dates.
Mhm.
So June 17th is the north side, June 24th is the south side. So Kenilworth will have bulk pickup this month, June 17th for north, June 24th for south. According to the superintendent, we are accepted some applications for a labor position with the DPW. DPW crews are trimming trees throughout the borough. The updated recycling schedule was mailed out to all borough residents last week to notify them of changes to our curbside recycling, since the DPW is going to be starting that in July. And 16th Street, the grass was finally cut, and they adjusted the sprinkler system there, and the men supposed to have cleaned up in Demario Park back by the back fence. And that's pretty much all I got. That's it.
Okay, excellent. Glad we're having bulk day finally. Department of Public Safety, Councilman Clemente.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a pretty long report tonight, so I'll just hit the highlights now. There were 1,311 calls for service, 166 calls for 911, and 22 summonses for the month of May. On June 1st, Brett Byron started as a probationary police officer with the police department. On June 9th, the governor announced 2 new executive orders that will take place. One is effective at 1 o'clock on June 9th. The stay at home is lifted, social distancing and face masks must continue. 2, the gathering number for indoor and outdoor activities will be expanded with continued social distancing and face masks. Outdoor recreation will be allowed to reopen. That date is forthcoming with social distancing and face masks, with the exception of no water parks, no playground equipment, no arcades, and no amusement rides. And additionally, on June 15th, 2020, outdoor restaurant dining and non-essential retail may reopen. June 22nd, 2020, salons and barbershops may reopen. And gym and health clubs, no set date of reopening yet. And that's all I have for now, Mayor.
Thank you.
I have
very
a
much.
question.
Yes.
With the salons, does that mean nail salons too, or just hair salons?
It does.
It's all around?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank God. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, Councilman Shelkey.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, first, let me get into it because a couple people called me about the email I sent a few hours ago regarding approaching the attorneys. First off, I think it's a good idea. Please don't misunderstand me. But that was an email that was sent out to department heads, to board heads, to people that all report to us. And you know, we've always talked about things since I've been on council. At least we all know what's going on. We're in the loop. So when that email gets out and one of us gets a call from somebody saying, hey, what's this all about? We don't even know. That's what I take an issue with, the way this was communicated. You know, we've always sat down in workshops and talked about things. DPW is going to hire somebody. Mark usually gives an overview who he wants to hire. You know, there's something going on in finance. So Lynn would always go through that. So I was a little caught off guard by that email going out. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. It is a good idea, but the way it was communicated, I took offense to.
Noted.
And with that, I'll go into the report for planning, zoning, and construction on June 10th, 2020. I've received and reviewed the department reports for the month of May. We received a compliment for our zoning officer from a resident. The planning board will have its first teleconference meeting tomorrow night. And so I'll update you on that in a couple of weeks. And that's it. Nothing further to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Shelkey. Recreation and Fire, Councilwoman Cesari.
Okay, I gotta switch screens, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but I am going to my notes and hopefully you could hear me, so I will ask you. Could you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Could you see me?
No.
All right. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that, but I have to go to the notes, which I have on here. Recreation, of course, June 15th is the second phase and more businesses and stores will be reopening. We will be able to gather at 25% of building capacity or 50 people, whichever number is lower. Outdoor gatherings can be up to 100 people. Now with that, the council committee met with the rec to discuss summer activities that can be put into action since there is no summer camp this summer. However, the rec committee will also be meeting not by themselves, but they'll be doing a meeting to share ideas and plans as far as what kind of activities can be instituted that will be safe to enact under the governor's guidelines. That's what we have to follow under the governor's guidelines. So we don't know what kind of crafts or whatever. Some will be picked up at, they could be picked up at the rec and done. Others will be done in the park, but then they may be family oriented because right now we only have counselors on standby as far as if there should be extra help needed. So that's as far as kind of like camp goes, which there is no camp, but that's what we're trying to do, get some activities in there to take the place of some of the camp time that was put in. Okay, there's a few places asking for time in the park for Demaria to conduct classes. One of them is house yoga. She wanted it on Sundays, maybe at 9 a.m. Zumba doesn't care the nights or 1 to 2 nights a week. And Karate World also inquired and is willing to take whatever time is available. However, there'll be no restrooms available since the guidelines are very strict on the cleaning and disinfecting, and other protocols will also be needed as per the governor's orders. Crafts will be implemented to involve family participation. There will also be pickup packages for different crafts. Camp counselors will be on standby and will work as needed. The recreation department would like to do a scavenger hunt in the near future, but this has to be planned out accordingly, and rules for social distancing have to be put into place before we're able to even figure out where the scavenger hunt will be taking place. And they'd like to do movies in the park, maybe to distance it out over the other parks that are in use in town, not including the 16th, but not just at DeMario. I mean, right now we can't go on school grounds, but that was one of the things that was, you know, asked because that's pretty much a big place. You got the bleachers, or and you could social distance there, but that's yet to be seen. We still have to wait on that and see what comes out of that. There will be no Boo on the Boulevard this year. However, we'll be checking with the Rotary Club about the summer trips that they would often pay for, and if they are able to go forward. And we need to find out from the Rotary if they will still sponsor them as they have done in the past. Joe, this might be for you, Joe DiOrio. Summer camp, the trust fund, which is self-sufficient. Can money be used from the trust to fund activities for summer camp?
As long as the money's there, yes.
Yeah, okay. Summer camp.
That's the quick answer.
Okay. Summer camp has pretty much, they're self-sufficient and they have the money, and they wanted to know if they could use it for, you know, other activities since camp isn't going on.
Yeah, I mean, what I would recommend that they do is just redefine what summer camp is this year. So if they want to do movies in the park, if they want to do a different outdoor program, it's in the summer. So they just redefine what that means for 2020.
Okay. That, you know, that goes actually pretty much either day by day or week by week, considering what the governor says. So as far as where you could have people and how many, we have to go by his guidelines.
Right. Yeah. Anything that Kristen wants to do, what I share with her when it comes to hiring people or contracting with folks, just give me a heads up. So if we do any resolutions, making any appointments, we could do that ahead of time.
Okay.
With movies, we just be cautious that they have the proper movie licensing.
Okay.
I know sometimes that's overlooked.
Okay, I didn't know there was a movie licensing. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay,
For outdoor movies. Yeah. So if it's outdoors and it's shown to the general public and you advertise it, there is a licensing that's required.
okay. All right, I will let her know that. And I think that's all I have for recreation. Fire, very short. No fireworks on Sunday, June 28th. I spoke to the chief today, and we don't anticipate plans for a makeup date. He doesn't really think that's going to happen because the date has come and gone. Well, not gone, but it will be coming and going, and other things are set up. So, we need to, have the firework people at hand, and they may have other things going on. So we can't set up another date to figure that out. Also, Chief Kruger asked me, Laura, this might be for you. We have 2 or 3 new recruits and need to be physically examined before they can report for duty at the fire department. And they're already trained, they're already licensed. We just need to clear them as far as medical goes. So Chief Kruger was wondering what we should do because he believes Dr. Agressi is closed, which is where the cops usually go. Is it possible to go to like a care station or a MedX or a clinic care place?
The multi-care, so they could go there.
Oh, they can.
Have Chief Kruger reach out to me and I'll make sure he gets the letter that they need.
Okay, so they're allowed to go to another place then. They can. Okay, good. All right. And the last thing I have, as far as the carnival, that's still a waiting situation. We have the dates, but we do not know if that's going to go forward or not. We won't know for a while. Probably by the second week of July, we might know. Hopefully for the next meeting that goes on. And that's all I have.
Councilwoman, if I may,
Sure.
they are going to consider doing the carnival. They do need to submit their legalized games of chance applications. There is a time frame that goes with that, but now because of COVID and the staffing issues at the state, things are probably going to take even longer. So he needs to get them in immediately.
All right. Does that take on the liquor license and everything they need? Excuse me, for the
The
beer
liquor
truck.
license, that would also need to come in, because I don't know that the turnaround time is going to be the same as it normally is, but I do know that for the games of chance, it's probably going to take longer than it normally does.
Okay, so in other words, I'll get in touch with the chief tomorrow and let him know that has to, even though it's on wait, correct?
Yes, because if he waits till the last minute, he's never going to get his license, which means no games of chance, no raffles, no.
Okay. All right, very good. Then I'll let him know. And as far as the new employees or new volunteers, they can go anywhere to be.
Not anywhere. I
Oh,
have a
not-
letter
okay.
that they can go to the multi-care, so have them reach out to me and I'll make sure I give them the form that they'll need.
Okay, will do. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cesari. Health, Education, and Welfare, Councilman Ladati.
You have to unmute, Jerry. There
How
you
about
go.
now?
You're good.
Okay. The high school is working on a graduation. Your first graduation will be, and this is between Michael Bolka and Marconi and the school. They're going to have a virtual graduation. Then after July 6th, when the number of people that can attend may go from 100 and they're projecting maybe to 500 people in the stadium to attend the graduation. So that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting for those numbers. So again, that's with our health department, I guess what the governor deems necessary. but we will have virtual graduation first.
Jerry, can I ask a question about that? The
Sure.
virtual graduation will be on the actual day that they were supposed to graduate?
From what I understand, yes.
So will they wear their cap and gown and then just,
I didn't get that far with them.
okay, okay.
I will find out though and email you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
will. The school also settled, I think what we're looking for is they're close to completing the contracts for the teachers, for the aides, secretaries, and custodians. That's a big plus. I guess with the COVID, I mean, they got a little quicker to resolve issues. Another thing the school's doing, they submitted for 3 grants to supply needs to open and run the school with all COVID precautions. So they're looking for money to do that through grants and FEMA. They also have an application to FEMA to help them with opening the school with money. They're telling me as of now, the school is going to have $110,000 reduction in state aid. That's big. That's a lot of money. So that's what's going on right now due to COVID. The high school needed a high school principal, and they hired a new principal this week, Jeremy Davies. So we have a new principal at the school. That's about all I have for education. For health, they had 2 new COVID patients. The school had 0 new patients for school-age kids. The only thing I don't know and don't know where to get the information is our choice program, because we're not getting information on, when we start school again, are we going to have information of the kids who had COVID, who were treated, who were released, or, you know, are asymptomatic? Don't know, but I don't know with the HIPAA laws if we can find out. So that's something I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
No, can I just say
Oh,
something on that? They
yeah,
want to
yeah.
know who had COVID?
Well,
Is
the
that the
school,
case?
I give the school once a week an update on the children in the school district that had
Okay.
COVID or are in contact with them. Just to give them a heads up. But we don't have those numbers for choice kids. They're not reported to the health department. So that's
That's weird.
something
Why
they may
not?
want to find out.
Yeah,
But
that's,
HIPAA laws may not let them do it. You know, if I don't know how they're going to handle that, or what they're going to do, or if it matters.
okay.
Okay, it's just something that came up. Again, the health department, I'm saying, you know, only 2 new COVID patients, and most of them were in apartments where other COVID patients were. So it was just a pass on. Seniors, again, nothing's changed except they got a new president, you know, who I will be in contact with to see what they want to do. I don't know what they could do now. There's issues with how do we maintain the building? How do we get, you know, how do we keep people apart? That's going to be really hard down there. No food yet. Meals on Wheels won't be delivering to a group of seniors. You know, they'll go to individual houses. But Laura, something I want to pass by you is, are we still going to the diner supplying meals?
We have 2 residents that we're taking care of.
Okay, now, if Meals on Wheels are available to these 2 residents, I'm not
Yes.
trying to be a jerk, but why the
Yes.
hell aren't you using Meals on Wheels? You know, it seems like if it's available, we should be going that way, because I don't know what this bill's going to be at the end of this, you know, pandemic for us, even with 2 people.
Right.
So you know, I don't know your thoughts on that, but you know, I'll follow your lead in the police, because they're the ones
Well,
helping.
right now, in all honesty, Jerry, that the funding that is coming from that right now, the first month I paid for personally, And then the PBA or the Silver Card took care of the next 2 months.
Okay, but you see my point. If it's available, they should be
Mhm.
using it. We do that with everything else, you know, with the government. And that's basically all. Oh, let me go to my favorite subject, the library. Okay, the library is furloughing, I think everyone except 3 or 4 people from the library staff. I think it may be effective, you know, tomorrow or the next day. They didn't give me words on that yet. The other thing they wanted, Laura, maybe you can help me here. The grant for the libraries. We did a resolution saying what we were going to pay and what the library was going to put in. The
No,
library
Councilman, we
needs
didn't
that
do a resolution. We did it was a motion during a work session. So if you want to formalize it in the form of a resolution, we can do that for the next meeting.
That would be great. I'd appreciate that.
But if I may jump in, because Laura and I had this discussion today, the vote was taken, so it's official. It just was not put in written form, but noted on the record.
Okay, the state requires a written form.
I think it should be done by resolution.
Yes, no, that's what we're saying. Yeah.
That vote at that point is not binding. I would urge you to do the resolution on the matter of the library board because it's an autonomous agency.
Yes.
Okay, next with the library board is, I was asked last night what the capacity of the library was. So I called Joe, I called the building department, building inspector, I tried everyone to get a number. I get a call back saying it was already done with Jerry Ager and you, Laura, and the library staff. Is that true?
I'm sorry, I missed part of what you were saying, Councilman.
They needed a count. They wanted to know the capacity of the library. Because what
Yes.
they're saying.
So
you
I told the
25%.
construction official to go over there and see what the capacity was, because according to the state guidelines, they were very generic and they were overly broad for libraries that are much larger than ours. So the capacities that were by state law, that they found acceptable wouldn't be acceptable for social distancing by the guidelines for our library and the way we
All right.
are situated.
But they asked last night, what is the capacity? 50 people in the place, 100, and then they would try to go by the guidelines. And this is the argument we had last night.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't get the exact number. I do know that the construction official did go over there and he did give them his opinion on it, but I did not get a copy of what his opinion was.
Yeah, and following through with the health department on that issue, that said the capacity in the building should be, should have a signage. So people, it's, 50 people capacity. That was from the health department today. But other than that, the library did the furlough, the question on the resolution, and the capacity so they can start rolling. I asked them to talk to Joe prior to voting for the furloughs. And they all voted yes to forget my opinion and not bother with Joe. So I don't know if they called Joe today, but these boards think they own everything.
Councilman, I did speak to Lorraine after our conversation today, after we spoke about this. She's forwarding me the list. She is drafting something up. She told me the effective date would be the 15th.
Okay.
There was no end date. And
she said when they open is the end date. That's what she told me. When the library gets to open again, that'll be the end date of the furlough. But that's about it. They got all their supplies thanks to our governing body to make sure they had supplies to work the building. Of course, nobody could get it from a book. That was yesterday. So I said, why aren't the books being cleaned? That books don't have it. I said, okay. And I silently backed away. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Ladati. Borough Engineer, Mr. Gallerano.
Okay.
Hi. We can't hear you.
How about now? You good? Okay. Thank you. I just have a couple of items. The first off, in follow-up to the our I&I issue with RBSA. If you remember back in January, we sent an action plan to RBSA. They found it acceptable. We went into an agreement that we would spend the $58,000 on I&I work in lieu of paying the fine. In March, I had some follow-up emails with their engineer, and he wanted some specifics on what our plan was, where we were thinking of doing the work. And I had recommended that we start in the boulevard. Those are the deepest lines. We know they're in the groundwater, they're old. And I had suggested that we start with the line that broke last year. We know that's already compromised, and I think would be a good place to start. So they had no objection to doing that. So I had gone out in the last couple of weeks, got some quotes, put out a request to 6 contractors for quotes. And I got a low quote back of $39,450, which is actually a pretty good price. I was anticipating it to be closer to $50,000. The only thing that we didn't resolve with RBSA was how much of the money would be spent on hard costs, how much would be spent on soft costs. They did agree that a certain amount of the money could be used for like a study portion, and then a certain amount would be used for the actual construction costs, but we never really resolved how much could be, what the split would be. So if there's no objection from the council, I'd like to have another follow-up conversation with their engineer, explain to them what we found, what the quote was, and see if that's going to be acceptable. If they're looking to spend more money in the hard costs than the soft costs, we could easily find other places to spend the money. I mean, there's plenty of areas in our system that are going to need work. So, but I think the boulevard's a good place to start. If we need to spend a little bit more money, then maybe we could do some manholes or find some other work. So, you know, I could have a conversation with him and try to take it to the next step. I want to try to stay proactive with this rather than them come back and asking us what we're doing. So, you know, I can have that conversation with him and see if that would be an acceptable plan. Secondly, remember I talked last meeting, we were talking about this little soft spot we had on South 23rd Street by the municipal building. So we did that repair, and then apparently there's another small hole starting up today. When we dug in 2 weeks ago, we didn't find any issue with the sewer. We actually cambered the sewer, checked the water lines. There's no leaks, there's no issues. We think we just had a soft spot in the road that settled. There seems to be another small spot opening, and we can have that taken care of. If this continues for some reason, again, I don't know why it's doing this, we may have to do some soil investigation, but I think it's still too soon for that. I think we just probably have a soft spot there that we could repair, and hopefully that will be the end of it. The water company yesterday and today did some additional paving. They did all of Newark Avenue, and they did a portion of Quinton Avenue. This is the mill and paving that they're obligated to do as a result of the work they've done. At this point, we're not really going to be able to do any more resurfacing until they can continue with the service connections in that area. The gas company did get okay from the BPU to start doing service connections again, but at this point they're 3 months behind. So I don't know when they're going to be finished. They really don't have a timeline yet. So hopefully we can get the rest of the repaving done by the end of the year. But if we end up going into the winter, we may get pushed to the spring, which is unfortunate because this year they got an early jump. They had started this work in early March and then got shut down. So unfortunately, they're 3 months behind schedule. And then lastly, my notes. The 2021 road program. So our state aid application is due July 1st. So I just wanted to quickly run through the roads that we would like to put in for the 2021 program. Keep in mind, we always put in more roads than we know we're going to do, just in the event we get an exceptionally large grant, and also gives us some flexibility to try to maximize the grant money. So anticipated for this year is North 22nd, North 20th, and Passaic Avenue. Keeping in mind that Passaic Avenue is going to include the drainage corrections that we talked about last time. And then the roads, additional roads that we would put in for would be North 9th, 10th, and 11th, Newark Avenue, Lister, Vernon Avenue, Woodland Avenue, Colfax, and Bullwright. I know Bullwright is a commercial road, but we put it in, it's pretty beat up. And I think I'd like to add North 7th into the list also, because I was out there a couple of weeks ago, and that one was pretty beat up also. Colfax, there's a chance that Colfax is going to get done by the gas company. They had it tentatively on their list to run a new main there, but I don't know what their timeline is. I don't think they're going to get to it this year, but I think we'll find out by next year what their schedule is. And if they work in Colfax, then they're going to be responsible for the resurfacing. And Public Service also disturbed some of Colfax, and they're going to have to take care of their part. And Public Service is also going to be resurfacing at some point Market Street, because they ran a new duck bank up Market Street. So if there's anybody has any roads that they can think of they'd like to add to the list, just let me know within the next week or so, because we do have to.
I know we spoke about South 23rd Street. Only half of the road was done, but yet both sides were opened up. Is there any has any progress happened on that being fixed?
Yeah, I did have a conversation with them. What they did was they did half the road, and then when afterwards, for some reason, they had to go back and they opened up some additional openings on the opposite side. So anywhere that they did that additional work, they're going to come back and they're going to fix that. They want to defer that until when they come back later this year to do all of the paving, do it all at one time. But we talked to them about that, and they did acknowledge that they're going to have to fix that. So.
Okay, thank you.
No
Hey,
problem.
Tony,
Yeah.
you know, it's really bad. I noticed recently Sheridan Avenue between 14th and 16th, like the DPW.
Okay.
Is that on the list anywhere? Because that's really,
Yeah, that is
really
bad. I
It was
agree.
not, but we can certainly add that.
yeah, take a look at that one.
No.
I
You got
noticed
trucks coming
that as
out
well.
there, and it's not good.
Yep. Okay.
Especially in front of one of our DPW. So I think it should be looked at more closely and possibly added to the list.
Sure. We'll take a look at it. And if anybody has anything that any road they can think of or they know of that needs work, let me know in the next week or so, because we do have to have the application has to be in by July 1st, or we're not going to get the money. So anybody thinks of anything, just shoot me an email or a call, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay, Borough CFO. Joe?
Thank you, Mayor. As mentioned earlier, the Finance Committee met yesterday, and we talked about meeting once a month to look at our revenues. I attended a webinar today, and across the state of New Jersey, municipalities are experiencing similar losses of revenues. So it's really not on the expense side of COVID, but rather than the loss of revenues, we're now experiencing a 10 to 20% realization of revenues versus last year for municipal court. So it's basically 80% loss of revenues for the last couple of months. With hotel fees, we're off by 50%. So we're going to keep an eye on those revenues as the months go on. And I think that's the right approach at this point. Lastly, tonight is the second reading and adoption of the municipal budget. I'll be here for that portion. If there are any questions from the public, I do have our municipal budget ready to respond to those questions. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thanks for all the work on the budget. It was hard to put that one together this year.
Yes, you said it well. Hardest one I ever did.
Yeah. Okay, Borough Attorney, Mr. Capis.
Mayor, I'm just going to move Laura out. I'm very brief. The 3 points I wanted to make, you heard Norway Valley. We did not, surprise, surprise, get a response to our letter. My plan is to talk to our RVSA rep tomorrow. I've had litigation experience with Norway Valley, and the smart play is to see if he can move it as opposed to lawyer to lawyer. So we're going to do that. Number two, the good news is our insurance carrier, who we've been working with, there were 2 litigation cases where I think the carrier, with our assistance, is moving toward a rapid settlement. I'm going to wait till we have a real executive session to go through that with you. But the expression is there's light at the end of the tunnel on both of those. And number 3, Mayor, as you and I discussed today, I have a command performance tomorrow on the telephone with the OAL, the Office of Administrative Law. The court wants an update on Gavelstone. The good news is we've done everything right. I think the other side's material was not accepted by the court through some mistake, not by the adversary, but by the court. But we're going to see tomorrow where we're going. Mayor, you and I had a brief discussion over a potential, famous last word, settlement. I think we both agree that's not going to be acceptable to Gavelstone. It's a settlement we've offered before, but we're going to raise it again. It's always good to be on the side of reasonableness with the court. But I'll update you tomorrow when the conference call is over. And I'm available if you have any questions, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. Laura, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, Borough Clerk.
Okay, we do have some tentative dates that we've been going over for the reopening of Borough Hall to the public. Right now, depending on how COVID is trending, we're hoping to be able to open the doors to the public again by July 6th. Also, we have a tentative date for the council to meet in public again here at Borough Hall. And again, everything is contingent upon the trending of the virus, August 26th. The one thing I just wanted to follow up with you about, I had sent out a sample policy for accumulated time for employees. Is that something that the council would like me to move forward with, or does anybody have any comments on that?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think we should move forward. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay, thank you. I'll prepare a resolution for the consent agenda for the next meeting. Let's see, the primary election is going to be July 7th. I also offered Borough Hall as a facility for the vote by mail drop-offs. They were looking for 5 municipalities within the county to be able to have the voters, instead of dropping it in the mail, bringing it here for automatic pickup. They're only looking for 5. There was certain criteria. We do meet the criteria, but I don't believe we were taken because I believe another town local to us, what they're trying to do is get 5 spread throughout the county. It's all about the logistics. So I don't believe we were picked on that one. Also, I did offer Borough Hall for federal U.S. Census training. They're going to have a couple of dates where they're just going to train their people. They're not going to exceed 10. And again, that's just something that we're trying to do to help the public and to help the community. Let's see. And was there anything else? Oh, back to Councilman David's request earlier. I just want to know, do we have the authority to hire and to look for a new sanitation worker for to replace the retiring employee?
I would say yes.
Councilman David, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all for hiring a replacement. I thought we discussed it, and I thought it was we had the okay to proceed, so I'm all ready to go. I know we got 2 applications so far, so for
Mark,
the
is this
position.
the labor position?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to open the floor to the public.
Motion.
Motion made by Councilman Siri and seconded by, I didn't catch that.
Second.
Councilman Davis?
Mayor, I did not receive any emails in accordance with the COVID protocol. However, there is someone here that I believe wants to speak with council. So if you could just bear with us for a moment, I'll send him into your office.
Okay.
Okay.
I turned the mute off. So.
Hi. From Patrick, Mayor and Council. I sincerely apologize for violating borough policies, procedures, and regulations. I'm very sorry. I appreciate the opportunity the borough has given me in my employment with the DPW for almost 4 years. I would be very grateful for the mayor and the council to consider giving me a second chance and to get back my sanitation department position. Since
There.
Thank you.
guys
I
hear-
didn't actually hear the beginning of what you said, but
I'm so sorry for that. You want me to repeat it again?
if you wouldn't mind, thank you.
Kind of sit closer to the mic.
Patrick from Mayor and the Council. Borough policies, procedures, and regulations. I'm also very,
Speak really loud.
I'm sorry, man.
As loud as you can.
All right.
It's like right there. Maybe hear you first.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Echo.
All right. From Patrick to Mayor and the Council, I sincerely apologize for violating borough policies, procedures, and regulations. I am also very sorry for my conduct on becoming of a public employee. This will never happen again. I appreciate the opportunity the borough has given me in my employment with DPW years. I will be very grateful for the mayor and council to consider giving me back my sanitation department position.
All right, well, I guess you broke up a little bit at the end. I'd certainly thank you for coming out. And Linda, do you have anything?
I agree. I appreciate you coming out and apologizing for what happened. Absolutely.
We'll talk amongst ourselves and get back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
that.
Thank you.
I'm a little shy. I'm sorry.
No problem.
And Mayor, we don't have any other public portion this evening.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting for public discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ladati and seconded by Councilman Tsiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to have a motion, prior to that, does anyone else have anything else to add?
No.
Okay, I'd like a motion for a 5-minute recess, please.
So
Motion.
moved.
Motion made by Councilman Clementi, seconded by Councilwoman Tsiri. Okay, see you in
Mayor,
5
can I
minutes.
please have a motion to adjourn from the work session first?
Oh, okay. But we did. Okay, motion to adjourn, work session?
Yes, we adjourned the public portion. We need to adjourn
Okay.
the work.
Okay, I'd like a motion to adjourn the work session, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Ladati, seconded by Councilman Clementi. All in favor?
So now we'll enter
Aye.
into a 5-minute recess.
Okay. Thank you.
You're on pause?
Go stay, it doesn't matter. I just wondering what my life would look like when I was 15 years old.
You're muted.
Who, me?
Are you ready, Mayor?
I'm ready. I am making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, Laws of the State of New Jersey. The Borough Clerk has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2020. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of this schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, and the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of the schedule in her office during the year 2020. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Cesari?
Here.
Councilman Clementi?
Here.
Councilman David?
Here.
Councilman Ladati? Councilman Lopez?
Here.
And Councilman Shelkey.
Here.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th, 2020 council meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Various advisories were received from the New Jersey State League of Municipalities, and the department reports were received for the month of May.
Is there a motion to accept communications?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilman Clementi. All in favor?
Aye.
The governor has lifted the stay-at-home order. We're finally seeing the light as we move through the coronavirus pandemic. Restaurants will be open to, will be able to have outdoor seating starting on June 15th. I hope many of our restaurants take advantage of this opportunity to create outdoor dining areas. On June 22nd, everyone can finally get their hair and nails done. Limits on indoor and outdoor gatherings have also been raised. Currently, there are 164,796 cases of COVID-19 in New Jersey, 16,302 cases in Union County, and 148 cases in Kenilworth. Please take a moment to fill out the census. Kenilworth is currently counted at 74%. June is Pride Month. Many of you have noticed the Pride flag flying at Borough Hall. The flag stands for professionalism, respect, integrity, diversity, and excellence. I support tolerance, understanding, and respect in our community. All members of Kenilworth are welcome, loved, and supported. Diversity makes us stronger. I am proud to support our LGBTQ residents. Also, St. Teresa's Food Bank is changing their hours to the second and fourth week of each month. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The pantry went from feeding approximately 30 to 40 people to 207 last month. The pantry is not capable of sustaining these numbers. This change in schedule will help bring return visits down to and the stocking up at the pantry. Anyone wishing to donate food or money can do so at the rectory. I would also like to send gratitude to our police department. I'm very proud of all of you and I support you all 100%. I'd like to thank Chief Zimmerman and the entire department for serving our community and for showing up every day doing what you do to keep our community safe. I'm appreciated by all of us. Also, the primary election is June 7th. Mail-in ballots should be reaching your mailbox soon if they have not done so already. Please fill them out and mail them. Your vote is your voice. Please make it heard. Thank you. The finance report, Councilman Lopez.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Finance office will be open to the public on June 22nd. Estimated tax bills for the fourth quarter will be mailed out late June, and residents will be able to pay in person at that time. In-person senior freeze PTR forms will be available for in-person processing as well at that time. The Finance Committee met yesterday to discuss the borough's current financial position. We are keeping a close eye on our expenses and especially our revenues. As a result of the economic losses due to COVID-19, we agreed to meet once a month to review our financial position and make any recommendations necessary, that we need to get done. Thank you very much, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Lopez. Department of Public Works, Councilman David.
I thank you, Mayor. Two things. First, updated recycling schedule was mailed out to all borough residents last week to notify them of the changes to the curbside recycling. As if no one knows, the DPW will be taking over the recycling of the borough. So they sent out a new schedule. Everyone should have got one mailed to their house. The other issue is, this is probably the most important news of the night for most of the residents, is there will be a bulk pickup. June 17th for the north side, June 24th for the south side. So we didn't cancel it. We brought it back, and we have new dates for the bulk pickup. It's June 17th north side and June 24th south side. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman David. Department of Public Safety, Councilman Clementi.
Thank you, Mayor. At the beginning of the month, June report from Chief Zimmerman, there were 1,311 calls for service, 166 calls for 911, and 22 summonses for the month of May, actually. On June 1st, Brett Byron started as a probationary police officer with the Kenilworth Police Department. She's now in the Kenilworth Police Department's field training program, which will orientate her with our department's policies, procedures, and general orders, and the ability to learn side by side with the certified Kenilworth Police field training officer. The purpose of the field training and evaluation programs to train new officers so that each is prepared to function as a solo beat officer at the conclusion of their training cycle. Training cycle transfers consist of approximately 8 weeks of intensive on-the-job training and daily performance evaluations. So good luck to Brett. I mentioned some of the new executive orders that the governor announced on June 9th. So we know that the stay-at-home lifted. Gathering of numbers of indoor and outdoor activities will be expanded with this continued use of social distancing and face masks. Let's see, outdoor recreation will be allowed to reopen. Date is forthcoming with social distancing and face masks, with the exception of no water parks, no playground equipment, and no arcades. And additionally, on June 15th, outdoor restaurant dining and non-essential retail may reopen. The mayor mentioned June 22nd, salons and barbershops will reopen, and gym and health clubs not have a set date yet for reopening. And I just want to, again, thank our police, fire, and rescue for the work they do every day to keep us safe, and we really do appreciate it. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Clementi. Planning and Zoning, Councilman Shalkey.
Thank you, Mayor. The Planning, Zoning, and Construction Report for June 10th, 2020. I received all the reports from the departments for the month of May, reviewed them, and everything was in order. We actually received a compliment for our zoning officer from a resident, which was passed along. The planning board is meeting tomorrow night. We're having our first teleconference meeting, and I'll report back, let you know all how that goes. And that's pretty much it. Nothing further to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shalkey. Recreation and Fire, Councilwoman Cesari.
Thank you, Mayor. As we all know, June 15th is the second phase where more businesses and stores will be opening. There we'll be able to gather at 25% of building capacity or 50 people, whichever number is lower. Outdoor gatherings can be up to 100 people. Therefore, the council committee met to discuss summer activities that can be put into action since there is no summer camp this summer. The rec committee will also be meeting to share ideas and plans as far as what kind of activities can be instituted that will be safe to enact under the governor's guidelines. That means that whatever activities are implemented, they need to pass, like I said, the governor's guidelines as far as distancing and whatnot. There's a few, well, I'm going to say exercise groups, but they're more than that. It's House Yoga wants to use DeMario Park, Zumba wants to do 1 to 2 nights a week, and Karate World would like to use whatever time is available to them in DeMario Park. The only problem with that, and there will be no restrooms available to use since the guidelines are very strict on the cleaning and disinfecting. Other protocols will also be needed as per governor's orders. Same thing with crafts. Crafts will be implemented, hopefully most of them to involve family participation. There will also be pickup packages for different crafts. Camp counselors will be on standby and they will work as needed. They're thinking of doing a scavenger hunt if all guidelines fit the social distancing rules that are in place. That's to be determined when. We have no date for that as of yet. In the summer, movies in the park would like to be done, maybe distancing it out over the different parks in town, not just at the Mario, but maybe, you know, I know 16th Street Park is closed, but there's maybe the school if they allow us to use the bleachers. If not, we could see what else could be done, but there'll be small groups if they're gathering in the park for movies. Unfortunately, this year there will be no Boo on the Boulevard. We will be checking with the Rotary Club about the summer trips and if they are going to be going forward. As you know, the Rotary does sponsor many trips for the summer camp. However, since summer camp is not going to be happening in the summer, we have to figure out from the Rotary if they're still going to sponsor trips, what the guidelines will be on the bus, and whatever else goes with that. So that's yet to be determined too. A lot of this all is just yet to be determined. Okay, and that's actually all I have for recreation. And the fireworks, just a couple announcements. There will be no fireworks on Sunday, June 28th, as our annual fireworks display takes place the Sunday before the 4th of July. And there are no future plans for a makeup date. As to the carnival, we are still waiting on an okay for that, whether or not yes or no we're going forward. That all depends upon, again, governor guidelines. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cesari. Health, Education, and Human Services, Councilman Ladati.
He's muted.
You're muted, Jerry. You're still muted there. You shut it off and then back on.
How about now?
You're good.
Okay. They're working on graduation at the high school. They met with the health department talking about what they could do. And the administration at the school decided, you know, they're going to have a virtual graduation. And I'll have a firm date this week. I don't think they have one yet. But they know that after July 6th, they may have a big, you know, blast, you know, at the high school and have a regular graduation, you know, where they can have as much as 500 people if everything goes right. One thing good is that the school's close to getting all the contracts done with their 4 groups, the teachers, the aides, the secretaries, and the custodians. That's big, usually takes years. The next one is that they submitted grants to help us with supplies for COVID. And so they could open up the school with all the precautions handed down by the governor. FEMA money may also be available. As of right now, the school lost $110,000 in aid, state aid. That's a pretty big hit due to Corona. And the high school hired a new principal. They needed a principal, and his name is Jeremy Davies. To help, that's the end of the education side. The only thing I'm just not 100% sure of how daycare centers are going to work. I know we got an email about daycare centers today, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I'll look into that. Health department, only 2 new COVID cases, and thank God none of them were children that attend our schools. So that's a blessing. Michael Bolka from the health department and now our event coordinator is working on the farmers market. He's in touch with the church, with the bishop at the church, and it looks like things are going well. He said it's tough because he got a late start on it, but it's moving in the right direction. Senior citizens hasn't changed. We're still working for our Meals on Wheels to start again for our seniors. But again, working on social distancing is the biggest problem. Again, my biggest concern right now is I don't understand what's going on with daycare centers. Is it for essential workers or everyone? And how do we prepare our local people to get ready for starting daycare again? And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Ladati. Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Okay.
Motion made by Councilman Shelkey, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolutions 1 to 4 are listed on the consent agenda and will be enacted by one motion. All items will be recorded individually in full in the minutes. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman Clementi?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Lopez?
Yes.
And Councilman Shelkey?
Yes.
I have 2 ordinance up for public hearing and adoption this evening. The third ordinance is being pulled because it's not completely done yet. So Resolution Ordinance 2020-05, an ordinance of the Borough of Kenilworth amending existing Chapter 91 fees and licenses, Article 2 police reports and services.
Yeah, the purpose of this ordinance is to amend Chapter 91, specifically the fee schedule for police services. Is there a motion to open the floor to the public for the discussion on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Clementi, seconded by Councilman Ladati. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If anyone has anything to add about this ordinance, on this ordinance only, please step forward.
In accordance with the meeting notice for remote meetings during COVID-19 public health emergency protocol, no emails were received from the public, Mayor.
Okay, is there a motion to close the floor for public discussion on this ordinance only?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilman David and seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance for adoption?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilman Clementi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2020-05 entitled an ordinance of the Borough of Kenilworth amending existing Chapter 91 fees licenses. Article 2, police reports and services within the Borough of Kenilworth, was introduced and approved on first reading at the regular meeting of the Borough Council on May 13, 2020, and approved for final passage at the regular meeting of the Borough on June 10, 2020, after all persons interested were given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in accordance with law. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman Clementi?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Lopez?
Yes.
And Councilman Shelkey? I think we lost him. If he comes back in, I'll ask him for his vote on that. The next ordinance I have up is 2020-06, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 48:4-45.14.
Okay, the purpose of this ordinance, if you spend less than the state permits, you will spend this, permits you to spend. This ordinance allows you to bank the difference for 3 years or for a rainy day. Is there a motion to open the floor to the public discussion on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Cesari, seconded by Councilman Clementi. All in favor?
Aye.
In accordance with the meeting notice for a remote meeting during COVID-19 public health emergency protocol, no emails were received from the public, Mayor.
Is there a motion to close the floor for public discussion on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Cesari, seconded by Councilman Clementi. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the ordinance for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Clementi, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2020-06, entitled an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.14, was introduced and approved on first reading at the regular meeting of the Borough Council on May 13, 2020, and approved for final passage at the regular meeting of the Borough Council of June 10, 2020, after all persons interested were given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in accordance with law. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman Clementi?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Ladati?
Yes.
Councilman Shelkey?
Yes.
And Councilman Lopez?
Yes.
Okay, if I could backtrack for just a second, Councilman Shelkey, we lost connection with you for the last ordinance for 2020-05, and I took the roll call.
That was, yes. I'm a yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sorry about that. My internet went down.
No worries.
Okay, ordinance 2020-07 listed on the agenda is being pulled for further consideration. Public hearing of the 2020 proposed budget. The municipal budget represents an increase of $78.53 for the assessed residential home. At this time, I'd like a motion to open the floor to the public for discussion on the 2020 municipal budget only.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilman Shelkey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor, the requirements for that were published pursuant to the auditor's recommendation was based off a phone call. So at this point in time, as we're live streaming, there is a delay of 30 to 60 seconds between our discussion and someone actually having the opportunity. So if you would just bear with us for a little bit, we'll see if we get any calls in.
Yep.
In that regard, I did not get any emails in on this.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to close the meeting for public discussion.
Not yet, Mayor. Give it a little bit
okay.
more.
Okay.
Sorry. I
Sorry.
was just filling in the silence. I did check, I did go through my, all my spam folders, my junk folders, just to make sure that if a resident did have some input that they wanted to bring forth, and there were none.
Thank you.
Minutes
Okay.
is longer than you think.
Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be anything forthcoming, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to motion to close the meeting for public discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ladati, seconded by Councilman Clementi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the attached statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the Borough of Kenilworth municipal budget for the calendar year 2020. And be it resolved that the budget was approved for introduction by the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth on Wednesday, May 13, 2020, pursuant to resolution number 11. Be it further resolved that a summary of said budget was published in the local source, an official publication of the Borough of Kenilworth on May 21st, 2020. Therefore, be it resolved that the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth does hereby approve the following as the budget for the year 2020. The total appropriation is $16,853,903.80. Councilwoman Cesari,
Yes.
Councilman Clementi,
Yes.
Councilman David,
Yes.
Councilman Ladati,
Yes.
Councilman Lopez,
Yes.
and Councilman Shelkey.
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In accordance with the meeting notice for remote meetings during COVID-19 public health emergency protocol, no emails were received.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else to be brought for the public portion, can I have a motion to close the floor to the public, please?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilman Lopez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does anyone else have anything to say for the good and welfare of the borough?
Mayor, real quick, I just wanted to recognize Councilman Lopez for leading the finance department through this budget process. It was, very difficult. We couldn't really meet too much personally. We did meet, on Zoom, which had its challenges. He showed his leadership. We did a good job of keeping the budget where we could, as low as we can. We had the challenges of RVSA and some other factors that we can't help. But I just wanted to acknowledge him for his leadership. Also, CFO Joe Dioro, who of course has worked very hard on the budget as well. So that's all I have.
Thank you,
I
Larry.
agree. Thank you, Councilman Lopez and our CFO, Joseph Diorio. Great job. Thank you. Anyone else have anything else to add?
No.
Okay, so if there's nothing else to be brought before the council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman David, seconded by Councilman Shelkey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Good
Aye,
night.
everybody.
Thank you.
You
Hey,
guys.
Dan-